talk for a moment with what's happening in the shoulder, neck region with regard to the deadlift. There are some people that are going to disagree with me on some of the things that I'm going to describe right now, but I can tell you based on my performance and the way that we've been performing it here at my gym, that what I'm going to tell you right now is the best way all around to perform the deadlift in regard to your shoulder region. And before I continue, everything that I'm describing with regard to thoracic extension with your back and your low back, and then what I'm going to describe with the neck, mind you, if you are a world-class powerlifter or you're lifting some really, really heavy weights, the tendency should be towards what I'm describing, but because the loads are so heavy, you're going to be contorted. You're going to be pulled out of this position, especially if you're going for a serious PR. I do not recommend that if you cannot maintain extension or flexion in the muscles that I'm describing and the areas of the body that I'm describing in the previous video and in this one with just a bar in your hands, then you should not be going for any PRs because you can't even do the freaking movement. Does that make sense? So understand how to do this movement and be able to perform it for multiple reps with significant load while you're training, so when you do go for a PR and the positions that I described in the other video and in this one, and the one that I'll show you in a moment, when you contort, when you distort those particular positions, your body understands what's going on and you're still activating the muscles associated with the right positioning. It's just that they've become over loaded, the weight is just heavier than the muscle can handle. But not for everyone to do. So there's a lot of guys that are heavy deadlifting and pulling heavy weights off the floor that, like, you know what, you're too freaking weak to do that with a bar. Not even weak, the nervous system doesn't even understand the pattern associated with an actual deadlift. They're just pulling heavy shit off the floor. And that's why, look, I'm not that into injury prevention. You know, to me that's like, you get hurt, see you later. I'm more into performance. I want to become the strongest version of myself, and I want you to do the same thing. So everything I'm describing is like, it's pushing the envelope. And that's what I'm trying to have you do, get as strong as possible with this information. So that's my original rant. Let's go. We're going to talk about the shoulder. So we've got basically an upper cross here, one that most people never even consider. You've got your cervical extensors, the muscles that help your neck do this. And then you got your deep cervical flexors, the one that help your neck do this. So that's the top portion of this this cross. The lower portion of that cross is your pec minor, the muscles here, as well as the thoracic extensors. Typical imbalance. And tell me if you've seen guys that look like this, or is this you? What did I just show you? I showed you tight pec minor, tight cervical extensors. You've got an overdeveloped upper cross in that particular region. That's typical when you've got guys who bench press a lot and who squat like this and who deadlift like this. You know what I'm talking about? So you end up with a medial rotation of the femur, or the upper arm. What do you call this? Humerus? And they're pulling like this. They've got a rounded back, scapulas are just winging out all over the place, shoulders are pinched in, neck is extended, and you know what? Here's a wonderful thing. If you want to look like a gorilla, then keep doing that. You know, you see these guys that walk around there at the gym, they go to the club, they got on their tight, shiny shirts. People still wear tight, shiny shirts? I don't even know. And there's nothing going on back there. It's just a big hump because this and this are non-existent. They don't work. That balance that I described before in the other video, 25, 25, 25, you get the point, is so way off that their posture sucks. They can't breathe right. They're just horrible athletes, in my opinion. I don't care. Look, I'm doing a lot of ranting here. When I played football, even like when I compete in strongman, all I have to do is look at you to know if I'm gonna beat you or not. Because if your body is not aligned properly, you're screwed. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how much you yell and scream or aggressive you think you are. You do not have the instantaneous access or rotation of any of your joints. Your joints are not sitting properly. I don't care how big certain muscles are, because in relation to the ones that allow you to have perfect posture so that you can move heavy shit efficiently, you're screwed. So I'd have guys that are twice my size that can't produce the forces that I can produce because I actually have good posture. So good posture is not just, like one of these goofy new age things where, you do yoga all day long. If you want to perform as an athlete, if you want to perform as a strength athlete, you've got to correct these imbalances. Now, no one's going to be perfect. I've got several of them. But understanding them and designing your training programs to support not only pushing those imbalances into greater facilitation, you're facilitating those imbalances like you're basically giving an alcoholic a couple beers. You're going to do what you can to rein it in through your training program, your exercise selection, and the form that you use, and then try to fix them back out the other way. And this is what I'm going to describe with regard to scapular adduction and deep cervical flexors. The muscle's deep right in here, so that attaches your tongue, like it's attached to your tongue down into this region here. These muscles are usually very long and weak for most people because that's what they look like. A strong, deep cervical extensors, flexors, would look like that. Cheekbones over collarbones. When you stand up, your head is actually right on top of your shoulders. So stretching the extensors here, strengthening the flexors. Same thing with the scapular adductors. Instead of having this happen, this is more of a natural posture with the extension of the with external rotation of the humerus once again, and thoracic extension. So how do you create that situation where you can deadlift with this particular form with a proper balance between the neck and the shoulder region so that you can pull a lot of weight off the floor? Well, generally speaking, strengthen, obviously, the scapular adductors and deep cervical flexors. These are usually the guys that get bastardized. These ones are overdeveloped in most cases that I see, and these are underdeveloped. There are tons of exercises that we can do in order to correct this imbalance. Most of them you call these corrective exercises. I know you're probably not going to do them, and most of them are boring. So my suggestion is to watch the next video where I'm going to describe some of the things that you can do to fix a fucked up deadlift. Excuse my language. A lot of people get pissed off that I swear. Fix a messed up deadlift and then continue to support your strength in a properly aligned fashion. So we'll talk about that in the next video. Hope this helps.